Welcome to the My Tribe podcast. Today we have Shawn Preissle, previously from the Michigan SBDC, and we dive a little bit into her helping 2,500 entrepreneurs and what she learned throughout that process. Let's dive in.
3, 2, 1, talk to me.
Welcome to the Michigan Tribe podcast. We are hanging out with a very fancy Alex Messon. You got a bow in your hair. And you found your professor glasses.
Yeah. I found them after 2 weeks.
To the show, Dr. Alexandra
Thank you.
Meston.
It's great to
You're
be here.
even wearing a belt.
I am. I'm
Welcome to the My Tribe
podcast.
podcast. We are here with the very fancy Alex Meston and probably our favorite business human that we still talk about, and the fact that you're retired is depressing me every day, Shawn Preissle. No longer from the Michigan SBDC.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome.
It's always fun to see you too.
Oh, we love you.
You are retired now. Guide us towards towards what I learned before we started recording, which is that you might be able to tell us about countries where you can be euthanized if things go downhill.
I don't know if we want to talk about that. I do think I need to do a little more research on that, but that is an option if that's.
She is a traveler. That
She's
is
a
what
traveler.
we know. That is what her retirement
I'm
is.
interested in what you're talking about, but
Me as well.
Pre-travel time and learning about random things like euthanasia for humans, we knew you because you worked at the Michigan SBDC. And prior to that, you were an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
And the start of your story that I know is that you owned a business that was a franchise.
Yes.
That franchise imploded
Yes.
upon
very
itself.
much so.
You then transitioned from a franchise to an independent business.
I don't recommend it, but yes.
Okay. And then did COVID hit and that's why you started doing the meals to go? Because there was some part of your story where you were like doing to go meals or something like that. Restaurant
No,
catering.
It wasn't COVID related.
Okay.
It was more of just a company that started, a franchise that started with this great dream of serving family-sized dinners to people. They come in and they make it themselves. And now when I even bring it up, people, I'll say, do you remember that concept? And they're like, no, because it was just something that kind of popped up. All of these stores opened up where all the ingredients were there, all the recipes were there. You prepared it yourself. You took the dinners home, but you could make a dozen dinners in 2 hours and be done, which is really cool. But it's
Very
like
cool.
one more thing you have to plan into your life.
And go to. And
go to,
physically go do it somewhere
and spend
else.
2 hours, and that's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a child, you know how hard it is to get away for any period of time.
I can't even cook the HelloFresh at my
Right,
house.
right.
Like, yeah, I get it.
I have another option for you for that. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But
Yes.
so that concept just didn't work. And so the whole franchise, that was what they developed the whole brand around. They didn't know what to do. They couldn't pivot 15 locations. So they ended up shutting down and just saying, you're all independent now. So we tried to do a little bit of a cooperative, and I ran the cooperative where we shared a website. We still were sharing recipes. I was trying to manage that, and then like these stores were closing down one after another, and it wasn't an option for me.
Yeah.
I had a young family. Just giving up wasn't an option. So we transitioned, and we were making the food for people. So you could order 12 dinners and pick them up, and you were in and out in 5 minutes. You did it all online.
Wow.
But we also had to, we had a hot lunch program for private schools because it helped pay the rent. And we did catering, and we had a cooking school in the front of our store. So that whole section where people were making themselves, the cooking school moved in. So we had to do all of that to be profitable. And it was a lot.
Yeah, and I have so many questions about that, but I literally in your bio allowed you to introduce yourself. Hello. But I wanted to, share with our listeners, you transitioned from that directly into Michigan SBDC, I believe, right?
Pretty much so.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I sold that business and was going to take a year off. And I painted every wall in my house. There was no more walls to paint.
And you
so
were
I'm like, I got to do something. And so
Sounds right.
I applied for SBDC, and one of the people that interviewed me actually was the coach, the consultant for the woman that ran the cooking school, and he
Oh my
recognized
gosh,
me, and I had
wow.
it took me 3 months of looking at his face to go, oh my gosh, I do recognize you. And he's like, yeah, it only took you 3 months to figure
What a
that
small
out.
world.
But
Wow.
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
Okay.
And now, can you explain to listeners what you did at the Michigan SBDC and the general concept? Because some people might not even know what that organization is or does. So just like, what was your role in it? And then what was kind of the wider umbrella?
Okay, so it's Michigan Small Business Development Center. So we are a group of consultants.
You are no longer.
We are not.
There's not we. They are.
It's so
They
fresh, y'all.
are.
It's so fresh.
It is very fresh. They are a group of consultants all over the state of Michigan. They're actually all over the country. Every state has an SBDC, but the Michigan SBDC, we have offices all over the state.
It's hard.
It's hard to transition.
It's really hard, yeah.
Well,
Well, you were there for like a decade, no?
yeah, 9 years. No, 10 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
a decade.
So
We provide consulting to startups. I can't even stop saying we.
That's
but
it's fine.
I won't
Keep
call
with
you
it.
out
Keep
anymore.
to
with
It's
it.
fine.
startups, anywhere from like I have a concept, I want to see if I can vet this out, if it'll work, to existing businesses that they maybe have hit a roadblock or they're at that $300,000 mark or $800,000 mark. Those are the kind of two areas where we see people struggle. They need to get over that hump, so we can help them with that. But they help with everything in between too.
Mhm.
Marketing help, financial, like accounting help, helping you put a loan package together, anything related to business, transition planning, getting out of business if
Yeah.
you've worked it for the long haul. Like me, I had my business for 9 years. We were at this pivot point again, and I thought, well, I can pivot again, or I can see if I can sell it.
Mhm.
And I ended up selling it. So they also help with that too.
Yeah.
Is really making sure that companies are ready to sell. You can't decide today I'm going to sell my business and expect an offer tomorrow, and to expect the price that you want. It
Right.
does take time. So
Now, I'm curious because we've mentioned a couple times, but you are recently retired. Congratulations. Super
Thank you.
jealous. I wish I had just returned from Hawaii as well. But I have questions about both of those stages of your life. And there was even one before it. I think you were in theater prior to that, something to that effect. Or was it?
Nonprofit,
Yes,
yeah,
you were in
yeah.
nonprofit theater. And so what I'm curious about is after 10 years of working at the SBDC, reflecting back on yourself as a business owner and entrepreneur, what advice would you have given yourself?
there was so much I didn't know.
Yeah.
All of these pivots that I made. I bought out a partner. I went from a franchise to an independent. I sold the company. I changed my concept multiple times. It was a struggle, and there were so many different ways I could have gone about it. And I think the biggest thing that I didn't know then was how to really market my business. I didn't. And even now, I wouldn't consider myself great at marketing, but I know the importance of having a good marketing strategy in a company. So many businesses don't even think about that. So I think for me, that was the biggest piece. So prior to owning my own business, I worked for my father's company who, and I did all the financial pieces of it. I did all the bookkeeping, the accounting, the taxes. So I had a good grasp on that. And that's such an important piece that probably saved me from
Yeah.
closing my
Right.
doors too, like all the other franchises.
Absolutely.
Is that I managed every single penny. I
Right.
probably drove people crazy. Like, there's 2 ounces of ketchup in that bottle. You
Right.
can't throw that away. You gotta keep- pour it out.
Yeah.
So, I think that's what sort of helped me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And so, that lesson, the marketing lesson, kind of ties into what I'm curious about from the SBDC perspective, or just, the number of businesses. Why Alex and I loved you so much in that role and continue to love you now, and you will forever, your legacy will live on through us.
We will
We
say your
will
name
forever talk about
Oh,
you.
man.
And we will forever text you and be like, but you could help this one person because we love you so much.
Yes.
But 10 years of helping a variety of industries and different business owners and different businesses at different stages, some startups and some 10, 20, 100 years of legacy down the line. What are some of the really big kind of pitfalls that you noticed repeatedly in businesses and entrepreneurs that sought help through the SBDC?
This is you already know my answer. Like, you're both smiling because you know my answer. Is that so many businesses do not know how to manage their money at
Yeah.
all. And I feel like, so many people think that they're alone in that struggle of not really understanding their numbers. But 75% of the businesses that I worked with did not know what the numbers meant. So it was either they had an accounting system, but they weren't putting in the entries correctly. They were putting the entries in correctly, but they didn't know what the reports meant. Some had no accounting system at all, and they were
Yeah.
trying to manage.
Especially entrepreneurs, small business owners,
Sure.
solopreneurs. Yeah.
Because they're wearing so many hats. Like people go into business thinking like, I can make bread. I'm going to make bread. I've been making bread forever. So now I'm going to start this company making bread. You're not making bread
Like,
when
it
you
sounds
start
good. I'll just charge $4 a loaf. And then you just
Right.
like throw a number out there and get started.
But you're not even making the bread. You have to hire someone to make the bread. So you're a manager. And if you have never managed anything, how can you
You heard
do
my
that?
complaints upon arrival at this podcast recording.
That's
Sean.
right.
It's
That's
a
right.
whole thing. Managing people is a whole scale.
Yeah, and that was probably the biggest struggle for me is trying to meet people where they are in their financial struggle
Yeah.
and teach them. And so oftentimes when people get really far down the road and their books are just a disaster, and I've seen it time and time
Yeah.
again, it's so hard to unravel that.
Yeah.
So I think my one piece of, well, I've got lots of pieces of advice, but the biggest piece of advice is understand what you don't know about finances and figure out how to fix that problem, whether you learn it yourself or you make sure that you have the funds to pay someone to do it. Because
Yeah.
if you can't put together a good cash flow, balance sheet, income statement, you're never going to survive. I have never known a solid company to not know what's going on with their
Yeah.
finances.
Right.
So from that angle, I went from being a solopreneur who was absolutely terrible with money, and I can relate to that level of being a startup. And Alex knows this. I would call her and be like, "Do you want to be my business partner? Because I'm like the worst, and I don't know what I'm doing." Money was coming in much slower than it was going out. I mean, money was never my strong suit. And now managing an organization, right? That's $1 million in revenue, and we have almost $5 million in assets. We're in a different state than I was when I started. And as a non-money like person, I don't think even now I know enough about money because it's constantly evolving. Every stage of your career, every stage of your business, like understanding the differences between cash flow and revenue versus expenses, right? It's like when you're like, it might look like a really good revenue month, but your cash flow is really struggling. Like there are so many, like, where do people even start understanding your money? Let's just say in both of those different stages, a startup who's still maybe intermingling personal and business, right? And then a large scale company that maybe this is the first time an owner's really even had the opportunity to organize.
Right,
Like
so they can step out of the business to actually run the business.
Yeah, like where do people even start managing money? Because there's so many numbers.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And again, it's what is your background? What do you know about finances? Like if you've never managed your own
I
personal
know to call
finances,
my sister.
there
I
you
know
go.
to-
But you have someone though. You have someone
Support
you
system.
can call.
Yeah.
But if you've never had to do it, you are on the bottom rung of the ladder. So I mean, you can take a class. You can, reach out to the SBDC.
Right.
We have a very basic tool to help manage money where, I built this spreadsheet where here's your income, here's your cost of goods, and here's your expenses, and it'll provide you information. It'll add all of those up and tell you what your profit is at the end of the month. And it's very basic. You don't have to think about debits and credits or, that both one transaction is always going to have another transaction. Like in QuickBooks, if cash comes in, what's the other side of that? People are like, what?
Yeah.
It's cash. It comes in, right? So if you've never managed your books, your personal finances, you've no background, you have to hire someone to at least get you set up and explain it to you. If you have to take a course at, JCC to learn about personal finances or QuickBooks or whatever, do it. And oftentimes people think like, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to get my LLC, and I'm going to start.
Yeah.
And it if you're going to get in business in 15 days, and you haven't thought of any more than I'm going to form my LLC and I'm going to start a business, you're already behind the 8 ball. You've already set yourself up for failure because you haven't looked at, is my product or service filling a need? Do people need this? And does it fit with my lifestyle? Like, I've worked with people, a guy started his own business. His wife was very ill and he felt like, I need to make more money to help pay the bills. Well, that's the worst
Oh my
time to
gosh.
start a business.
Yeah.
Right?
At least to start it right and actually have it be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not spending a year, 6 months, a year setting up your business, and even longer, then you almost are setting yourself up for failure.
That is like the number one thing that I see is, and I've referred a lot of people to you. So
Yeah.
it's like they don't think that the customer discovery part is important. And it's like it's a struggle to try to get, people to understand that why would you set up an LLC if you don't even know people want what you're offering?
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to go and end up dissolving the LLC. So why not put the work up front to see if this is going to work and it is going to be a business that you can make money at? And that is just something that everybody struggles with.
Yeah.
Everybody struggles with that.
I used to teach how to start your own business classes here at the library when I first started. So, here I am sort of fresh off my own business. I think I know a lot. I found out that I didn't know a lot. I was very fortunate to have great people that I worked with that if I had a question, I used to drive them crazy because I'd get off the phone with a client and I'd hang up and I'm like, this is like the whole conversation. This is what I told him. And was I right or was I wrong? And they're like telling me, this is what you did right. But that's how I learned, right?
Yeah.
And so I used to teach these classes, and we have a how to start your own business at SBDC, a manual.
Okay.
And I used to teach to that. And the very first thing was, where does this fit in with your lifestyle? Are you at a point in your life that you could start your business? And I would think, well,
No.
why would someone be here if they weren't at that right point?
So
in their
many
life?
of us. So many of us.
And then over the years, I realized like so many people are using a new business as a fix to something much more serious. Like, and I was telling Alex before you got here is that, I sort of put people into 2 categories later. And I'm like, after seeing a pattern, it's like people who have a passion and the drive to start a business and are willing to put in the time and effort to get to that goal versus these other group that they need to pay the bills.
yes.
Right.
And they have to figure out a way to pay the bills. So they come to you, they're like, I want to start a daycare. Well, that doesn't work out.
Girl,
Oh,
I
wanna
gotta
start a
tell you,
food
that
truck.
ain't the business to start if you got a bill to pay.
But that's
It doesn't work.
But then that's the point that, they're not thinking
Yeah.
that through.
No, it's like, okay, I know I got a friend who had a food truck and she made a lot of money, so I'm going to do the same thing. All right, well, you made banana bread with your grandma. This person worked in a restaurant for 10 years. Like, it's not the same,
right.
right?
So are you
Absolutely.
saying, I'm going to admit something to you, Sean.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be so
Is
surprising.
it business related?
What's about to happen? We never
TBD.
know.
I don't know. But Alex is so the Shawn Preissle to this equation. I am in your first category. I'm the one who was like, or your second category, excuse me. I need to pay my bills, and that's why I started. But the voice in my head as that category of person is like, yeah, but that's where my drive comes from. I'm not the disciplined person. She's the disciplined one out of us. I'm not that is what gives me the drive to figure it out, is that goal. So, can you be successful no matter which category you come from?
Well, what is your business?
Girl, I don't have one anymore. I'm just saying, like,
The business was Wealth University, and basically
Yes.
we were coaching women in their 20s and 30s to build a business. So we're basically what Michigan Tribe does, but for a profit.
Okay, but you knew that world.
Yeah,
It
she
wasn't
did.
like you were going to make banana bread and have
Right,
only made it
exactly.
with your grandma, right?
Yeah, it's not like you
knew that
came. You were
world.
like, I'm going to make jewelry or something. You were like, you actually had. You
Yeah.
were training yourself by going to school and
Yeah,
going to these
okay.
conferences, and then taking that and selling.
okay.
And I don't think you were fooled by the time and effort it was going to take.
Oh,
Like
I for sure was, but like 100%.
I misjudged
100%
you.
I was.
She was like, whoa.
Okay.
Definitely thought it wasn't going to be that. But my lifestyle was suited to it. I was young 20s. I had all the time in the world. I thought it was going to take a lot less time, but the fact that it didn't was fine. You know, like there were a lot of things to it. So I do hear you. But just as you talk about this structure and the requiring it to take, 6 to 12 months or you're behind, like I fit in that category. But even more than that, when I hear entrepreneur stories, I can identify people in both of those that are still rocking and rolling and doing things.
Right. Okay. So I guess maybe I generalized too much.
No, it's okay.
Maybe there's a third bucket. So if you're starting a business where you have like the support behind you.
Yeah.
So maybe you have parents that can support you, or you're living at home, or you don't have like this whole entire family and
Absolutely.
everything that you have to support. And then you also need a loan for $100,000 to make it work. That's the first bucket where I just need to make money, but I need all of these things to make this happen for me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of failure I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
if you're like, I have a pickup truck and I'm going to, help people move their marketplace orders from door to door for $50, that could work. You know, you could start to earn a little bit of money, as long as that's not the business that has to support your family of 4
Yeah.
when you're the only person working and you have zero savings.
Right.
Yeah, it comes back to the cult question that we learned, and we've shared a bit of the cult story here on the podcast, which is, what can you do with what you do have? And we ask it primarily at Michigan Tribe too, like, what can I do with what I do have from right where I am? Because that is an acceptable amount of growth to expect yourself to have. But to say by the end of next week, I am going to go from making no income ever in this business to paying my mortgage and buying groceries and buying a new car because I need it, and making sure that I make those past due payments on debt that I'm way behind on. So like, I think framing it from the aspect of like, where can I reasonably be as a business owner in the stage that I am 30 days from now or a year from now or wherever it is, and what do I need to learn to get there?
Yeah.
Rather than expecting gold at the end of the rainbow tomorrow.
Right. And you're setting, you have to set expectations that make sense. Back to customer discovery. I worked with a coffee shop in the very beginning, and they handed me a business plan. They put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
But the part that messed them up is their projections. They had projected the same amount of cups of coffee that they sell on a Starbucks in New York City in Somerset, Michigan, and it's like that's not even possible.
Oh, I see that in pitch decks so often.
Yeah.
People look at what the entire industry is making worldwide or nationwide. I'm
Yeah.
like, girl, you in Jackson. Like you got to you got to actually know your
look
numbers
at the
from
population.
That angle. Yeah.
And that's so AI, is such an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Take that with a grain of salt.
Yep.
It lies to you too.
Oh yeah, all the time.
I was in a very heated argument with AI yesterday. I told Alex this.
Yes.
I was like, don't trust him.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's exactly what she said.
It's like, I've been screaming at ChatGPT all morning.
Yeah.
I'm really upset with it.
But one thing it can do is, if you want to open a coffee shop in Somerset, you can say, I want to open up a coffee shop in Somerset. Here's the location I want. How many cups of coffee do you think I can sell in a day? And it will actually tell you, this is a population of Somerset. This is the amount of expenditures people spend on coffee.
Here are your
this is the
competitors
amount
in
of
the
your
area.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
And then it can do a multiplier and pops out this number, and you're like, wow. And I've use different platforms, and I do my own research, and it's like, that's pretty accurate.
Right.
So, there's some data that you can take from that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One other question that my boss taught me to ask at the very beginning, because I always thought like people wanted to be wildly successful.
Yeah.
What does success look like to you?
Yeah.
So if success looks like to you, I want to earn a total of $10,000 so I can have a really great vacation with my family every December. That's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe your knit scarves can earn you that kind of money.
Yeah.
But if you think that your knit scarves are going to put your 4 kids through college, that's different.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's a great question. I should ask that.
Yeah.
I was
That's a
going to
good one,
say
right?
that's
That's
a
a good
really
one.
actually good question for grant applicants
Yeah.
too, because who are we
Yeah.
to judge
Yeah.
what business success looks like?
Right.
And yeah, that's a really good question. So, you said something in your previous answer, Shawn, that I want to come back to because it's something I struggle with. It's something you and I have talked about that I don't know if I would put struggle to it for you because I don't want to speak for you, but you were giving advice and guidance to business owners at different ages, different stages of business, at different, from different generations, from different areas of Michigan, from, just industries you'd never worked in, ideas you'd never heard before. How did you know that the advice that you were giving was good advice? Because business can throw a
I
wild
don't know. Maybe
card.
it's going to come back to haunt me. I'm going to get a bunch of letters.
Like a
It's
hard
something I
question.
struggle with if someone is
Yeah.
giving me an idea.
Yeah.
For Michigan Tribe, we serve different entrepreneurs who come to us with different ideas or the same idea we've heard 9 gazillion
Yeah.
times, and we know there's so many photographers, there's so
Yep.
many caterers, there's so many people, and they're
Yeah.
coming to us with the same idea. Like, who are we to say it can't be successful? But who am I to say I know more than they do about where
you
they're
never
at?
do. I don't, not ever. Very rarely have I said to someone, that's not going to work. There's no way you're going to make that happen. I let people make that decision for themselves.
Okay.
So I would only think my advice is sound by the research that I help them put into what they're going to do.
Okay.
So I can say, like, we always have to know what it's going to cost to start a business. We also have to know what our expenses are going to be. I don't have to guess at that or advise on that. It's just what it is, right? So then we can say, well, how many customers do you think you will have? And will that cover those expenses that you have and that loan payment that you have and that payroll that you have?
Yeah.
And if it won't, then you have to rethink your idea.
Yeah.
But I'm going to help you get it on paper so that you can make that decision by yourself.
People do not like data.
No,
They
and
don't
I
like
and,
what data tells them. Most
and I
of the
always
time.
used to do a lot of that part of the work because I know people hate that, and
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I'm that weird person who loves the number portion of it. So you have to find what it costs to build out the space. You have to find out what the equipment's going to cost. You have to know how many employees you're going to hire.
Yeah.
But I can plug all of that into a spreadsheet and have it spit out some answers, and I can explain to you what it means.
Right.
And that can go a long way
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah.
Right. And oftentimes I'll get, oh,
Right.
yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right. Or how much, can't we just bump those? I get this quite a few times. It's like, can't we just bump up those sales numbers?
Yeah.
With cash flows?
I'll just say I'm going to have more customers. And then you have to have this real conversation of
Yeah.
it's not reasonable to assume you're going to have that many customers based on the area you're choosing to do and the prices you're choosing to charge. So
or your marketing strategy is, I'm going to market on Facebook. I
Right.
can't afford marketing. I'm going to
Yes.
go on Facebook and market. Okay. Have
Right.
you ever marketed on Facebook? Right? Oh, no, but I have a lot of friends on
Yep.
Facebook. That'll work. And so then they start this business thinking that they're going to do a really great job marketing on Facebook, and they have 112 followers.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm posting every day, but I'm not getting any results. I'm like, because 3 people might see your
Yeah.
post
Mhm.
per day. And that's not
Yeah.
that's not marketing at all. That's
Yeah.
wasting time. That's the definition of wasting time.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. It's
Oh,
like some of the advice I used to give early Michigan Tribe days when people I'm going to start a Facebook page, an Instagram page, a website. And what did I tell you when you started your photography
You
business?
said don't do a website.
Don't do a website.
Yeah, and
She
I
still
haven't.
to this day
6
hasn't.
years, and I have never made a website.
And she's
it-
doing fine.
And I'm doing fine. And I give that advice all the time. The
Yeah.
first thing that a lot of the people that I meet with, like you're saying, when they come and they have an idea and they want to start their LLC, they want to build their website. I'm like, whoa.
Wait, I'm going to agree to disagree here.
Oh,
You
tell
really?
me. Tell me
Because
more.
I feel like you should at least have a landing page.
Oh, okay,
Even
a
if it's a
landing page,
one
yes,
pager,
that's okay.
you
Which
can
we
do it
kind
with-
of talked about.
yes, which I agree
She
with
has
you.
a Google form.
Yes, I agree with you.
That's
on that.
fine because
Yeah.
you're like Google Analytics.
Yes.
People define you. You got to have that.
Yes.
And here's what I actually said. I didn't tell her don't have a website. I said, what is the absolute most essential thing you need to let people know that you exist and allow them to book with you? I just and that's where the Google page came from. And I think it's at the end of the day, the advice is what is what you absolutely know you need to make sure people legitimize your business. Because people can spend so much time on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook, Reels,
Yeah.
like X. You can spend so much time and think you're working on your business, and at the end of that day, not have a single lead come your way because you either didn't know what you were doing on those channels, which is most of the time the case.
Most of the time, yep.
Or generally just that's all you spent your time doing, when in reality you could have gone to stood outside of on the street corner, held up a sign, got just as much attention on your
Absolutely.
business. So like, what do you need? What is the most essential attention getter you can do right now to get customers? And then go from there.
Well, you have to know who your customers are too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. And a lot of people don't,
Yeah.
as we talked about, they don't do that customer discovery. How many people are out there that will buy your product or service?
Yeah.
And one thing that I used to use is a customer avatar.
Mm.
Like, where does your customer shop? What do they read? How old are they? Do they have children? Are they college educated? And I used my business as an example of what my perfect customer looked like. So that wasn't every customer.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to spend time marketing, I'm going to spend time marketing to the biggest group. Because
Yeah.
I am a business owner and I have to market, but I also have to do the bookkeeping and I have to do the HR and I have to unclog the garbage disposal and I have to shovel the
Yeah.
snow, right? So
Right.
I have
Yeah.
all of those things. So I'm only going to spend the time marketing to the biggest group of people. So
where they are
do
most
they
of the
live?
time. Yeah, where they
Yeah,
are
where
most
they-
of the
yeah.
time.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if you don't do that and you're marketing your, critter control business on TikTok,
Right.
that's not the right.
I mean, that could work.
It could work.
Actually,
It could work.
I kind of like that idea.
You got a mouse at the. Yeah.
I kind of like this. Get off Facebook. TikTok's your route,
Oh my god.
Could you imagine?
That's hilarious.
You're out there
I
setting the trap.
I'm just saying, if you're listening, you own a critter control business. This
Hey.
is good advice.
I think we have time for one more question. Do you have one? I mean, I have a question, but I don't know.
I
if
have
you
to
have.
say that all the questions you sent me before, you haven't asked me one of them.
we haven't been on. We haven't been on.
That, if she didn't add that notation to the list of questions I sent, she should
I
have.
was
That's
expecting her to be holding her phone up,
Oh, that's
reading down the-
hilarious.
I
That's
took a quick
hilarious.
glance,
You
saw
did
a
great,
couple
though.
words, and was like, "Man, we can keep going." Ask your question. I mean, I could dive into so many avenues of what she said, but please.
I'm just curious, because you work with. I mean, gosh, I would love to know how many, if you ever totaled that for the 10 years that you helped. Did you guys do any of that? for
I would
your-
probably say I worked with 2,500 people.
Okay.
At least.
Wow.
At least. Probably more than that.
How
Okay,
many
so-
of those businesses are still?
Well,
in
my
existence?
question
I
is-
don't know that. I don't want to know. I don't want to do that research.
So my question is out of those 2,500 people, like if you could imagine like some of the business owners that you really saw their journey see through and were successful, like if you could pick like maybe a few, what are the characteristics they hold
Yeah.
that you think got them to whatever their success
Like, what were the
was?
patterns of that success that you saw?
I think they came into the situation prepared.
What
They
do you mean
didn't-
by that?
Like they didn't rush into it. They did their market research. They had experience in the industry, not just in the industry, but like I'm going to use a bread baker, like
Okay.
not just baking the bread, but managing a kitchen, like
Mhm.
having that type. And you don't need all of that, but you at least need to know what you don't know and be able to fill those gaps. Putting together a solid business plan
Yeah.
and knowing all of their numbers, they're able to get the financing they need, or they have enough money in their savings to help them through those lean months
Yeah.
before they get started. And then this is a big thing. I've had so many people, once they launch their business, I'm gone from their brain. And so when they call me back, because oftentimes they do, it's because they've gone so far over the edge
Oh.
that like for me to pull them back up, I can't.
difficult,
Like
yeah.
it's just too far gone.
Yeah.
And so if you go to the SBDC, work with a consultant, and then stay with them, even if it's quarterly check-ins,
Yeah.
and they can help you look at your financial statements and make sure that everything is in line. They can look at your marketing strategy. They could, and like one thing that people have in their financial statements is, you've got your sales, you've got your cost of goods, and you've got your labor expense. You've got a lot of other things. But those three numbers those percentages have to be in alignment, right? So if we use a restaurant, for example, your food costs should be 30 to 35%. And then your labor costs, the total of those two should be 60 to 65%. If you are above that, you're losing money, right? Because the margins are so thin. And if you're not following that, then you're putting yourself out of business really quickly. Right. So, if you check in with SBDC, they can help you make sure that, I see that the food costs are off. Have you raised prices? Have your costs gone up? Let's look at that and see if we can fix this problem before it goes, really south. And when I had my business, I updated my books every week and I checked those numbers every single week.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Because I wanted to know in real time whether I was doing well or not doing well. So,
and if you're someone like me and you're listening, the advice I would give is, so in my case, with the job that I have an incredible accountant that I'm super grateful for. In Michigan Tribe, I have a sister who's very good with numbers. For someone like me who's not like that, definitely something I've learned, like you were saying earlier, is I sit down with those people and ask, what do you see when you look at this? Because I don't see it. I just see numbers. And it's overwhelming, and I can learn and I can get better at some things. But like I said, as things evolve and grow, it's constantly changing. And so for people who are either naturally good at that or have that skill set, I literally just ask it, like, what do you see? Here's what I see. Yeah. What can I learn more? But what are you seeing that maybe I wouldn't ask a question about? Because like I said, for someone like me, it just doesn't naturally catch my eye. But then, when it comes to you saying, people go so far over the edge, whether it's SBDC or it's business friends or it's, trusted people in the business, I think, trusting when you see something trending downward or something catches your attention as like a yellow flag, not even a red flag yet, just a yellow flag. I think like learning to say something sooner rather than later, because things snowball and the way they affect culture or the way they affect your overall business it becomes a huge problem that can take decades to come out of if you don't say something soon.
And you can build a tool to help you. You don't have to look at a balance sheet, an income statement, a cash flow statement to understand what's going on in your business. You can build a scorecard. You can follow 5 numbers or 10 numbers that'll tell you the health of your business. Yeah. In a way that you can understand. And I'll make a quick story. I know we're near the end. Yeah. I worked with a woman who, she struggled with the numbers, and I built sort of a spreadsheet for her. She's like, I just don't get it. And so I said, all right, let's think about this in a different way. And we did 3-4 iterations of this sort of spreadsheet, this scorecard for her. And finally she's like, oh, I get this. If I plug in these billable hours here and I put in, these billable hours here and I don't touch the rest of it, then it tells me what my monthly income will be. And I said, yes. And she's like, she called it her sanity tracker.
Yeah.
She knew
I was just going to say, Shawn, do you want to do this? It'll be like, for my life, it's like sleepless hours. Hours, time spent with your son because there's a snow day.
And it'll tell you like
number of hours I spent in one-on-one meetings.
Yes. This is how long you'll be cranky.
You will be very cranky tomorrow based on this chart.
Give me a heads up. Let's build a scorecard for life. Let's do that.
I mean, this has been fantastic. I mean, one thing that I just want to reiterate before we close out here is like, I'm working with a business right now that is exactly where you're saying it's too late to help. So,
it's heartbreaking.
It's very heartbreaking. And so I think, if you're feeling some sort of way or it's trending down, do not wait, because if you wait too long, we are not able to come up behind you and help. And so it just becomes even more sad.
It does.
So I think I just want to reiterate that. Like, it is okay to ask for help. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs have pride and they don't want to admit they need help, but there is a huge ecosystem to help you. Yeah. So please lean in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Michigan SBDC services throughout, especially those in Jackson County. We have so many incredible resources. Just like ask for help, voice it, call a business friend, ask who they've used. We have incredible resources to make sure that business owners aren't alone, even though you are alone. Like, you're going to be a little alone,
isolating.
but you don't have to be all the way alone.
Yeah. When you're out shoveling the snow.
Yeah, you're by yourself.
Yeah. No one's out there helping you.
Okay, Shawn, one more question.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do it.
She has to leave.
If you were going to open a business, what industry would it be in?
Oh, okay. Because I'm going to go buy a business as soon as you don't.
Exactly.
I don't know. I guess what success would look like to me would be how much I enjoy my life. So I would be maybe a travel vlogger.
Oh, you
I would
should
probably
start that.
not make any money. It would cost me a lot because all of that travel.
Yeah,
But yeah,
her husband,
you're like,
over there, like,
he's like,
not
I'm
do
on
that.
board. Travel vlogging.
I love that for you.
That's
You do
amazing.
I love that for me too.
Sean, thank you so much for returning from the depths of retirement and all of your
that far.
amazing
Only
travel.
been gone 2 weeks, but okay.
I'd be deep by 2 weeks. I'd be like, this is my life now. I'm not coming.
Well, have me back. I'll come back.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Do you-
This has
I
been
mean, you'll be
great.
a third host. It's all good. We accept you. Thank you so much for coming and joining the My Tribe podcast. Your genius is embraced for many years to come by Michigan Tribe because we are just such huge fans of the advice that you would give our entrepreneurs, the dedication that you had to making sure that business owners made it through good times, hard times, and everything that Michigan has to offer as business ownership does. So thank you so much for joining us on the My Tribe podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to me.
Okay, anywhere that you get your podcasts, please, Spotify, YouTube, please download our podcast so that you can get episodes when they're available.